What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the reaction channel. And continuing my series of watching mackzboss, a great content creator here for some Dance Moms content. We try and do these every single Sunday and posting them up for you guys to enjoy. I want to ask a quick question before I get started for my loyal viewers. You know, we have Catfish. Catfish at one point was huge on the channel. It has taken a dip. We have Dance Moms. We have Super Nanny that has done really well. Family SOS, they don't allow me to post anything, which is a shame. Any other shows you guys would want me to watch? Are there shows that I used to watch that you're sad I didn't? Are there shows that you think would do great, that you think would help the channel, that you think I would enjoy? Please comment something. You know, if there's other reaction channels that you watch or make similar content and you say, hey, Ryan, I've been seeing people posting about this. I've been seeing people watch this, reacting to this. That would help me out a lot because I want to have more variety on the channel. And I know lately it's really just been Super Nanny and Dance Moms. I will say I love these shows a lot and I enjoy the content. And but I want to have as much variety on this channel that I can. It's just some shows, unfortunately, don't allow me to post content that I would like. And mackzboss is great because I can watch these videos and their hard work is super appreciated and allows me to do a reaction to their work. So if there's any other channels like this for other shows or anything, please let me know. I know it's a lot of questions, but yeah, I just would love some insight on some new things that you would like me to do. Because, yes, I'm the person creating the content, but you guys are watching it, and I want you to enjoy what you're watching always. I want you to be happy with this channel, because when you subscribe to a channel, I feel like, you know, you're like, hey, hook it up. And I'm trying my best to. Once again, it's just me, so I'm my own team. So if you could help me and give me some tips or ideas or anything, it would be super appreciated. Because once again, we are now less than 500 subs away from 20,000. So please, please, please subscribe to this channel. If you have been watching some videos and didn't realize that you're not subscribed, or if this is your first time watching, please help me get to 20,000. It would mean a lot. As always, please also thumbs up the video and please comment. See what I do? I say please. I think sometimes people be like, get me to 20,000 likes. Like, slow down there, man. Or they'll play like these huge boom sound effects. Like, all right, you're scaring me. But yeah, show the channel some love. Show the video some love. As this is what I do. Also, speaking of what I do, I stream on Twitch 5 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And I watch Dance Moms every Monday. So come on by. Follow the Twitch. It's in the description. Come on in. Say what's up. I will say hi to you. My chat is very nice. They are not judgmental. They will say hi right back. We can have a good time. It's not as intimidating as it may seem, because I know Twitch can be a little bit intimidating to a lot of people. When I first joined Twitch, I didn't even know what I was doing for 6 months, and I was streaming. So I get it. But come on by. We have a good time. Speaking of good time, this video, let's go. Don't believe everything you hear. mackzboss's Uncovered series. Once again, shout out to mackzboss. Check out their channel. They make incredible content, and I appreciate the work that they do. So let's get it going. Uncovered. Let's give it a watch. Also, if you want to see my dog, I will show you my dog real quick for good luck. There he is. Okay, here we go. Season 4.
It's about time that we do a deep dive into how sound effects, Frankenbiting, Foley work, and other shady audio editing was used to try and twist our perception of reality. We'll also be looking at what it was like on set to have production constantly eavesdropping on the cast and forcing them to recite pre-written lines.
You could tell when they're pre-written too, especially with the younger cast. Like when they have when they have Kendall say, What did she say? Something when Abby was in the dunk tank and she says like she looks like a beached whale or something like that. It was like there's no way Kendall would have just said that. I forget the exact quote. And you could also tell like they do this in Catfish too, where like the dialogue will change. Like it'll be like, so let me know, what do you think? What happened the other day? Like you could just tell, and it's a little bit choppy.
Because there was much more to the Dance Mums audio than the producers cared
Also, we
to
got
show.
a little ghost here.
Feel free to share your thoughts on the
spooky
following
season
evidence.
and our ghost
First,
boner.
let's look at sound effects. The editors mostly use sound effects in order to make scenes more dramatic.
Yep,
But
I love the
sometimes
purse
they
swinging.
also used sound effects in order to change
Boo,
storylines.
Leslie.
For instance, Christy says that in Season 2, Episode 19, Leslie threw her microphone pack onto the floor. The producers wanted to cover up the fact that this was a piece of production equipment and avoid breaking the fourth wall. The editors decided to add a sound effect
Oh, they didn't make it seem like she threw a wine glass?
of a glass shattering,
Yeah.
in the hopes that the audience would assume Leslie threw a glass instead.
I see.
Kathy claims that it really frustrated her to watch the scene where she hits Abby with her purse, because production added a dramatic sound effect in order to make it seem like she hit Abby harder than she really did.
It says here that Leslie throws a glass at the wall.
No, you know what Leslie threw? Her mic pack. She took her microphone off and threw her microphone.
The sound effect of that purse hitting you is awful because it's like boom, and I'm like, oh come on.
I'm telling you, Abby would have been a great YouTuber. I always say she makes the YouTuber thumbnail face. She makes the Shane Dawson. She would have been great at clickbait. She would have been great at like mukbangs with like, you know, there'd be like a giant plate of like McDonald's fries, and then this face, we could edit in a background of her at a McDonald's. I'm telling you. Because I got a cameo once from Kathy, and Kathy said that she used to see Abby open her car, and like she said that like Big Mac carton containers would fall out.
It was a SWAT.
And when Paige got hurt
was
in
a
seasons
SWAT.
1 and 2, the producers added sound effects to make her injuries sound
The
more
ankle.
dramatic.
Yep, I remember this.
She and Chloe have explained that the sizzle of the curling iron in Season 1, Episode 1 was a sound effect added in post-production
Ooh.
and was not actually real. Christy and Kelly have confirmed that when Paige broke her foot, they also added a sound effect that sounded like a bone crunching. Production even added a zapping noise to the clip where Paige gets her warts burned off, in order to make it seem more dramatic and painful.
What a weird thing to add. Like, yes, we need this child to seem like they're in more pain. We need it to sound like they got sapped with a stun gun. Like, my gosh.
Paige once got burned by walking into her curling iron. But when they showed it on the show, they made it seem so
Wait, is that Digitor? I don't know. That D looks like it's probably not.
much more dramatic. They had like a sizzle and stuff.
Shockingly enough, that bone crunch noise was a sound effect.
The doctor starts zapping the warts with the most aggressive sound effects.
Even cheering was occasionally edited into episodes.
I've called this out on my stream. You'll see a crowd of 30 people, and then it'll be like this applause like they're in a sold-out Wembley arena.
In Season 1, Episode 1, cheering noises were edited over the entire group dance. And yet every
That's
time
me.
they cut...
I'm just making some jokes. See how easy it is? I have a big crowd. Look, I have people over to the left. Watch, I'll say something. Hey, make sure to subscribe. Hey, who loves Ryan, the host of the show?
to the audience, everyone is just sitting there quietly watching. And on Lifetime's YouTube channel, they use the exact same audio clip of an audience cheering again and again after dances. Next, let's explore audio operators. On the first day of filming Dance Mums, Christy says that a sound operator told her not to worry about the microphones because if they weren't near the cameras, they couldn't be heard. She quickly found that this was an absolute lie, and that production could listen to the cast at all times.
That's creepy. Because, you know, it's probably some, like, 45-year-old dude. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. You guys do whatever you got to do. They probably were really listening, and that's really, like, scary. Especially, like, they just showed Kelly saying, like, I don't have any underwear on. Like, dude, ugh.
Abby says that sometimes while she was wearing a microphone, she would be overheard talking about super talented students from other studios. Then all of a sudden, the producers would contact these kids and they would be asked to compete against the ALDC.
Ooh.
The audio operators would apparently listen to the cast when they used the bathroom.
Excuse me?
Bruh.
That is morbid. That's even worse than I was expecting. They're probably like, oh, because they go in there to have these kind of conversations. No, they also go in there to go to the bathroom, and that's absolutely insane.
And could sometimes hear the cast's hearts beating.
Oh my God.
Christy and Kelly say that during filming they used this to their advantage, telling production that they wanted cocktails by speaking into their microphones.
For the very first day I was ever filmed, the sound person who worked
Wow, Christy looks good there.
with me that day said, "Don't worry, if you're not near the camera, the mics can't hear you."
That is not the case.
You guys would have to follow us in the bathroom at times. I can literally remember you saying something like, "I need to turn down your mic. I can hear your heart beating."
That is insane.
We love them, and they're so good. They would pick up on
They
that.
would hear it, call them.
The kid that we were talking about amongst ourselves would be on the stage right before our kid to throw our kids off.
I mean, like, we could have been talking like in the parking lot or talking at lunch and they still hear us.
Where we would be like, "Excuse me, can I have a cocktail?" And one would appear.
Yeah.
We would just say it right in our microphone.
Can I have a large pepperoni pizza?
We talked to our chest and be like, "Excuse me, I need a drink." And the next thing you knew, voila, you had one.
Christy says that she was infamous for taking off her microphone, and Melissa says that she once ripped off her microphone and broke it. She claims that production threatened to charge her $800 for it.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, if you're breaking microphones, you should charge Kelly $8,000. I mean, Melissa $8,000 just because it's Melissa.
I was infamous for throwing my mic. I'm like, "Fuck you, take this. I'm not saying another word." And they'd be like, "You're not allowed to take your mic off."
I mean, I've ripped my microphone off and broken it, and they said they were going to charge me $800. I'm like, no, you're not.
According to JoJo, on the set of Dance Mums and AUD,
I'm finally about to start season 5 tomorrow, and I finally get introduced to Miss JoJo Siwa.
there were particular codes that the audio people used in order to indicate how much noise the cast was allowed to make. The phrase hard ice meant that they weren't allowed to make any noise. Ice meant that they shouldn't talk unless it's an emergency. And slush meant not to talk about anything that's important, like refraining from discussing the week's drama while they're off camera.
That's crazy.
On set, ice means to be quiet. Hard ice means be dead silent. Do not speak. And then there's a thing called slush. That's more of a thing that they used
One thing about JoJo, I'm sure it was a little tough for JoJo to have hard ice because she's always talking.
later, more so on Dance Moms. Like, all right, y'all are on slush right now. Like during lunch, for example, you can talk, but like don't talk about like what's going on the show.
An audio operator from the show has admitted that they hid spare microphones in areas where the cast spent a lot of time, in order to get as much information and footage as possible. And when a kid was upset, the operators would receive orders to put the boom microphones in their faces. Christy recalls that one day she and Chloe were stuck in traffic for an hour. Christy called ahead, telling production that they were going to be late, but when they showed up, production put a microphone on Chloe, even though the kids weren't usually given microphones. Christy became furious because she knew this meant that production wanted their lateness to be part of a storyline.
That's so annoying.
You know, like, should we do what's called a plant mic, which means I get one of the spare mics and kind of hide it in a bush. You kind of think...
Hide it in a bush. Bro, that's creepy. That is creepy. I would be paranoid at all moments just thinking like there'd be a microphone in the cloud or something above me. Or like you're drinking a soda and they put a microphone on the bottom of the can. That's crazy. Hiding a mic in a bush. To make content out of it. No wonder these girls were... You know, I've been seeing a lot more about the girls and being told that like they're, you know, they have a lot of trauma from this and that they don't talk to Abby and certain people. It's like, dude, of course. Because they probably watched some of these episodes back when they were younger and were like, what? You recorded me saying that? Or like you used that? Like I can imagine that being crazy. Also, someone knocked at my door, and that's why Cooper was barking. And I was like, please don't knock again. And they didn't, so that's good. It's probably one of my neighbors, but I don't want to stop filming.
Where the cast go and hide. Paige was having a real tough time, and she was crying her eyes out. And I was asked,
I love this. Hold on.
Many times by a producer to get a boom in there.
I was stopped in traffic for almost an hour, couldn't move, and I called everyone on set. Please don't use this against her when I get there. When I got there, they pulled me into the den, and they were trying to mic Chloe.
I'm gonna peer out of my window. Okay, well, they're gone, whoever it is.
Be Mike and Chloe for, because the kids weren't Mike. And I said, stop right there. I said, nope. I said, this is not an on-camera story.
Evidence number 3, editor manipulation.
Oh, this one I can definitely
The editors would often splice up the audio in order to fabricate storylines. One of the most common techniques is called Frankenbiting. This is when they splice together audio that doesn't belong in the same sentence to make it sound like someone said something that they never did.
Yep.
For instance, if a cast member said, I like doing lyrical solos, and also said, ugh, I hate hip-hop dancers, they could cut them together to say, ugh, I hate lyrical dancers. You can hear Frankenbites frequently on the show if you listen out for sudden changes in tone of voice and words that are cut short.
I still miss New Christie.
Abby wants Mackenzie to grow as a dancer.
Yeah, it sounds like weird choppy AI. Abby wants Mackenzie to grow as a dancer. And it's like you can hear it. It doesn't flow well. It's like ups and downs, the volume's higher and lower. It kind of sounds like, yeah, like AI from 10 years ago. Abby wants Mackenzie
to dance like Maddie.
My biggest competition for the music video is probably going to be Maddie.
My biggest competition for this music video is probably going to be Maddie.
Sorry, I'm a real dance mom, and I will stand here.
Then there are lines that are inserted into scenes where they clearly don't belong.
Yep, this is the Chloe one too.
There are several instances
Chloe
where we
eyes.
hear someone speaking, and all of a sudden we can't hear the room's echo anymore. And other times the quality of the dialogue takes a sudden dip.
Back leg isn't high enough. The group dance this week is called Runaways. They end up all alone.
Since she was talking into a well.
And on the streets. You haven't been feeling well, so you won't be dancing this week. I want to get on to the competition.
We also must be suspicious of dialogue where we can't see the cast's faces. It can easily be used to put audio where it doesn't belong.
Your kid's washed up.
You're just jealous that Bryn has had a better season than Kendall.
And lastly, you'll notice that in arguments, sometimes you can hear small clips of people bickering in the background. This probably happens because when a cast member yells in such close proximity with other cast members, their yelling is also picked up by the microphones of others. The words are often quiet, and it makes it really hard to tell what is being said. But as a general rule, if you hear lots of quiet voices...
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't got to this point yet, but I'm loving... Whenever Holly gives somebody attitude and gets that finger point, man, I'll tell you what. I start barking.
In the background of fights, it's a good indication that the scene has been heavily edited.
And your plastic surgery and your tummy tuck.
You don't know a thing.
4. Dance music.
Yes, the dance music one is like, I know my chat has talked about this, but really the only song that I've ever heard them play that was actually in it was Sia's Chandelier, because Kathy got the rights to it, or I don't know who got the rights to it.
All of the music used on the show was from a library of music that the production company had paid to use. This is why you'll often hear Dance Mum's music on other TV shows. One of the reasons why tap solos weren't very common on the show was because it was very hard to edit the sound of the taps.
True.
In Maddie's solo, these boots were made for walking. Production didn't have permission to use the original song that she danced to. They therefore had to replace it with another song and add the taps back in somehow. Abby has claimed that they never had separate...
Just some dude with like a fork tapping on a table.
...microphones to record the tapping. So it's very possible that they had to use a Foley artist to make tapping...
Pretty much what I just said.
...noises in time with Maddie dancing.
What are you doing today? Just working. And then they're just like... just doing my job. 9 to 5.
Nonetheless, the executive producer of Dance Moms, Brian Stinson, wasn't a fan of tap because he claims that the microphones would always make the taps sound weird.
One thing I was sad about is our kids never did a tap number. Like, I know Maddie did a couple of tap solos, but all of our kids were good tappers.
We had problems translating that on TV with the sound.
Interesting.
It sounded like a mess.
The editors would also chop up the music of dances when they didn't want to show the full routines. One of the worst I've ever heard was for
Melissa's smile
is when they didn't want to show the full routines.
Like she smiles like she's like trying to hold in a sneeze and doesn't want anybody to know it, you know, like it's like it looks like she's in pain. She's like, don't sneeze on camera.
The worst I've ever heard was for Mackenzie's All I Want solo. The song is absolutely massacred, and the editors didn't even manage to cut it so that the beats of the song lined up. It's truly a mess, and if you rewatch it, you'll know what I mean. It also seems like this license must have run out at some point, because in the clips we've seen so far for the Dance Moms reunion, the songs for each dance have been replaced with other music. And finally, we have feeding lines.
Yep.
Countless cast members have insisted that Dance Moms is not scripted, but many of them have also said that
there's definitely times where like I've 100% know that it's scripted. And they'll like somebody will get a phone call and like you can hear the voice loud and clear on the other side, and I don't know, you could just tell there's been many occasions where this has been a scripted show, and you could tell that the producers will be like, I want you to go in there now, or I want you to blah blah blah.
Production would give them lines to say during their interviews.
Yeah.
Abby, Kelly, and Kathy have all revealed that sometimes the producers would prepare lines for them.
It was ruthless, and they were just feeding them lines, and you could not leave, you could not get out of that.
Is that Viv? I'm only on season. Viv's like 6 years old or 7 years old. Well, she's probably a little older than that one in my seasons that I'm watching, but wow, Viv.
And when she said what they wanted you to say.
They made me say stuff, and they would like force you to say stuff.
How many podcasts have they had? I feel like every new clip I see is a new podcast.
You would
There's
go
the Queen
in
as well.
And, they'd have all those costumes behind you, and they would actually give you bites to say.
The kids
That is kind of common, though, to be honest. Like, being fed lines is kind of common when it comes to those things, because sometimes you just aren't going to get a great soundbite, especially if they're like 9 years old. So then I'm sure they have people that are like, okay, I'm sorry for this pause, Maddie. It's thank you very much.
But apparently also encouraged to say mean things about one another. Melissa and Kelly say that their kids would become very upset when they were being pushed to say these things. In fact, one of the producers named James has stated outright on Back to the Bar that he worked with Paige to make her say that she was embarrassed by the mum's behaviour at the Joffrey auditions.
Wow. Back to the Bar? Is that what the podcast is called?
The things they used to want my kids to say, like they would, like in the interviews, and my kids would be like, I am not saying that about my friend.
Well, the first season, they wanted Maddie to say all the stuff about how good she was, and then Kenzie, all those little quotes that she said were cute, but they made her say them, but then they wanted her to say these mean things, and she came running out.
That's weird. Like, Mackenzie being like 7 years old at the time, like making a 7-year-old say mean things about their friend is weird. I mean, making anybody say mean things about their friend is weird, but when you're a kid, that's just super bizarre.
Paige says, our moms were really rude and bad. I hope they don't embarrass me again. I think somebody told her to say that.
I think somebody told her to say that.
I might have worked with Paige to come up with something along those lines.
Kathy says that while she was sitting in the audience at competitions, the producers would text her with lines to say to Abby. And Melanie Hulsman says that at Candy Apples, the producers would sometimes hold up whiteboards with lines that they wanted them to say.
Wow.
This is very similar to what Abby has said, where she claimed that she would be given lines about the competition's name and location to recite at Pyramid. The mums say that every week production would make her repeat these lines over and over again.
I had to constantly sit behind you and, them texting to say, get in her ear, say this, say that.
Get in her rear?
You and them texting to say, get in her ear, say
this.
this.
Get in her ear. Whoa, I was like, whoa. Bruh. I must have missed that episode.
Say that.
Hessa, the producer, always
Look at Kathy's glasses, bro. She has such an obsession with bunnies.
Get me in trouble.
Yes.
They had to take away the whiteboards because
and write things for you to say.
And somebody was probably holding up a sign behind the camera saying my last text. And they would hold up what city we were going to.
So there were cue cards.
And where the competition was. Just for those 3 things. The title, the city, the name of the competition.
That's okay, at least. Because if you're going to different places every week, it could be a little hard to be like, this time we're going to Fort Lauderdale for Passion Dance. Like, I get that one. That one's okay.
And you can tell when when Abby said something, and then the producers are like, "You need to re-say that." And then she said it again, like
100 times that happened.
So what do you guys think? How much of what we heard on Dance Mom should we believe? Let me know in the comments below.
I would say it's probably 70% unscripted and real, and then 30% altered, if I had to guess. I'm curious to see what you guys think, because there is a lot of the show where, they're kids. You can't really stage a lot of things with kids, and they're not great actresses or anything. They're young. So that part. But I do believe more of the stuff with the moms, although the moms are catty for sure. I do believe they up it, especially with Christy. It's like Christy is terrible. No one likes her. Her daughter Sarah never dances because her mom's always getting her in trouble. Yet she's in so many episodes and just gets kicked out, comes back, gets kicked out, comes back again. It's like the producers know that she's good for TV, so they'll bring her back. Because in reality, there's no way Sarah and Christy would be in any episodes because her daughter really didn't bring anything to the table. But her mom was crazy, and they liked that. So that kind of stuff, it's like, it's not scripted, but I know for a fact that they were keeping certain people around. Like Mosquito Mom. They would be like, how did you get here? Like, let's be real. You think that Jeanette just randomly was following the bus going 90 in like a Toyota Prius? No, they brought her. She didn't just show up to another state. Like, they told her to be there and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of the show, they have characters that are loosely based off the producers and stuff like that. Like Kathy is a character. Abby is a character. Do I think Abby is still insane? Yes, I do. But I feel like they probably heighten it, obviously, on the show. And but I don't want to give Abby any excuses because she is a terrible human being, especially to these girls. So, all right, another great episode, though. Really interesting stuff. I love these videos. And once again, I hope you guys... I know these aren't as funny. Like, maybe my reactions aren't as funny as normal things. But, like, I think this is good. I like this switch up of content. And I just like, like, I was enjoying reacting to the Dance Moms edits. And I'll do some more of those. But a lot of them had repeat things and whatever. And this is, like, just interesting stuff. Like, I'm just interested in it. And it's cool to learn. And yeah, so once again, I hope you guys are enjoying this content. If not, that would make me sad, but hey, it is what it is. If you are, though, please thumbs up the video if you don't mind. And once again, if you're still here, subscribe and consider leaving a comment, since that does help the algorithm out a lot for this video. And also consider going to the Twitch. Now the video's over, you got nothing to do, you can go follow my Twitch, and you'll see me on there at some point. Trust me. I usually am on anywhere from like 6 to 7. That's when I usually start West Coast. So later, like, 8, 9, 10 East Coast. Usually when people are just kind of hanging out, back from work, back from, class, whatever. So, all right, that's it. I appreciate yous. I love yous. I'll say that every time. Always going to show love to you guys because your time is valuable and you choose to use your time and share it with me. And I appreciate that very much. And I'll always say how grateful I am. Whenever you're watching this, thank you. But it's now September, so I hope you have a great September. If you're watching this in October, November, whatever, I hope you have a great month, no matter what month it is. But good energy to everybody here. And I'll see you really soon right here on Ryan's Average Reactions. Peace.